want to get right into it for today. We're in Psalm chapter 139. We're going to be looking at verses 1 through 6. The title of this passage is a psalm written by David, and it says, "Search me, O God, and know my heart." It reads it this way. Verse 1 says, "O Lord, you have searched me and known me. You know when I sit down and when I rise up. You discern my thoughts from afar. You search out my path and my lying down, and are acquainted with all my ways. Even before a word is on my tongue, behold, O Lord, you know it altogether. You hem me in behind and before. You lay your hand upon me. Such knowledge is too wonderful for me. It is high, and I cannot attain it." Psalm 139 is a very popular psalm. It can be broken up into 4 different sections, and each of those sections contain 6 verses. And today we're just focusing on those first 6 verses. This psalm was written by David, like we said, and he's making a statement about the character of God and who God is and his abilities. David is saying that God is all-knowing. He's saying that God is everywhere, for every time, and for every moment. Every detail of our lives is open before God. This language that David uses of digging and searching is applied to God to show how deep and how personal his knowledge is about each and every one of us. God knows us absolutely, and he knows even the most innermost recesses of our mind are like an open book to him. David's whole life is summed up by expressions that he uses, I believe it's in verse 2, where it says going out and lying down. It describes his day, and it's all open before God. God sees everything that he does. Our very thoughts are perceived by God even before we speak them, is what verse 4 tells us. He's addressing God as the ruler of the world and as divine judge. So, it's safe for us to come to a conclusion today that God is all-knowing. He is omniscient. But I also want to share with you today that not only is he all-knowing, but he's also all-interested. This is important because every human desires to be known by others, to be known by somebody. It speaks to our natural desire to make friends and not to live life all by ourselves. We see it even in our most earliest stages in life as children. There's no stranger for them. When they see other kids, they'll get to know them and start to build relationships right away. But we all, whether you're an introvert or you're an extrovert, we all long for friendships. Regardless of how much or how little, we all want to have a friend. We all want to be known. We all want to be cared for. And when we're speaking about a friend, it's assumed that we're speaking about somebody that knows you and you know them. So this marks quality friendships. They know all the things that make you tick. They know the things that you like, and they also know the things that you don't. They know the mistakes you've made, and they know the things that you're proud of. They would know all about you, and they would still love you. And it's the same with God, but to a whole new level. A friend may not know everything about you, may not know your deepest and darkest secrets. We're able to hide all the things that we don't like about ourselves. And of course, we share some bad, but not all of it. Not the things that may hurt more than others. We take a look at our own social media pages. We see that most of the time we see a lot of mountaintop moments and not so much moments that when we're in the valley. So we not only tailor our pages to see the best versions of ourselves, but we also tend to hide all the bad parts. When it just happened to me the other day, somebody tagged me in an unflattering photo, and so I just removed the tag, and so it doesn't show up on my page. We all have the ability to remove that tag, so no one will see these things that we don't want them to see. We hide the ugly things because we're scared. We have this fear that if people really knew all the bad parts about you, they wouldn't want to know you anymore. They wouldn't want to be friends with you anymore. They wouldn't want to love you anymore. They would reject you for your flaws. This is the fear that's in all of our minds. But from this psalm, we see that there is no hiding from God. And I know that might scare some of us, but there's that fear that maybe God, like your friends, would reject you, but there's good news. God fully knows you more than even you have the ability to know yourself. God knows you, and yet he still chooses to love you. And he loves you not just kind of the way that is just simplistic love, but no, he loves you with everything that he has, so much so that he gives himself for us. Verse 5 tells us, and he lays his hand upon me. David is speaking here, and he's saying that God has him within his reach at all times. This verse is speaking about the protective care of our God. And I believe the same is true for those of us who put our faith in Jesus. God protects us. He keeps us close regardless of the decisions that we make. He keeps us close. He protects us because he loves us. I don't think there's anyone in the world that knows you better than God does, yet he still chooses to call you, to use you, and to love you, and to have a relationship with you. So I hope this encourages you today to think about the Creator who knows you even better than you know yourself, and that this wouldn't have a reaction in you to push you away from God or to be in fear of God, but instead this knowledge will draw you closer to him, to know that he knows everything about you, even more than you know about yourself, and yet he loves you the most out of anybody that you ever known. And so I hope, like I said, this would draw you to spend some time in prayer with God, so that he would cast your cares on him, because he knows it before you even say a word. And so I want to close our time today in Psalm 23. It says, "The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. He makes me lie down in green pastures. He leads me beside still waters. He restores my soul. He leads me in paths of righteousness for his name's sake. And even though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for you are with me. Your rod and your staff, they comfort me. You prepare a table before me in the presence of my enemies. You anoint my head with oil. My cup overflows. Surely goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life, and I shall dwell in the house of the Lord forever." God bless you. Have a wonderful rest of your day.
Thank you for joining us. Make sure to like and subscribe and hit that notification bell so you won't miss the video. See you next time.